All right, you guys, we'll go ahead and get going. Welcome. Welcome to the Healing Power of Plant Foods cooking class. I'm April Ashcroft, and I'm super happy to have you here tonight. And I'm glad we're recording tonight. So hello to those people who are watching in the comforts of their home. Wish you could be here with us. And so I don't forget later, if you want recipes for this class, whether you're listening to this right now, or if you're listening to it 5 years from now, I will most likely still have my recipes. I keep all my recipes from my previous classes. So if you want recipes, just send me an email at health4lifecooking@gmail.com, and that 4 is a number 4. So health4lifecooking@gmail.com. If you want the recipes, I'd be happy to send them to you. And even with you guys have paper copies, but if down the road you can't find them, just send me an email and I'd be happy to send those to you because I do keep them. So, all right, well, I'm super happy to have you here tonight. We're kind of right in the middle. I'm stuck in the middle of winter and summer with my food. Like, I'm kind of a seasonal cook. During the winter, I'm doing lots of soups and casseroles and warm kind of things. During the summer, I move into lots of salads and more raw stuff. And so I'm kind of stuck in the middle right now because one day it's cold and the next for soup and the next day it's hot and I want more of a salad thing. So I decided to kind of go that route with my class because we don't have ICL classes during the summer, and so I can't do any fun, yummy summer salads, which I have a lot of. And so we're going to do a summer salad tonight. And it's going to be a Mediterranean zucchini salad. And I told Susie today Mediterranean kale, but I got looking at my recipes. I was looking for a dessert recipe that I should do, and I realized I did my Mediterranean kale salad just like a year and a half ago, and I have a lot of repeats. I know some of you have been coming for quite a while, so I think, in fact, you may even have that Mediterranean kale salad. I think I did it in the fall of 2021, so a little over a year ago. So I didn't want to repeat that again so soon. So anyway, it's basically the same as this, and I'll kind of tell you how I do that when I do this. But this is a really good one too. I think you're going to love it. And then we're doing a lentil mushroom stroganoff, which is more of a kind of a cold weather kind of a dish, although it's wonderful during the summer as well. And then we're going to do some vanilla ice cream for dessert. So just for those, so I know most of you have been here before. Are there anybody new? Any newbies tonight? Just one? Well, welcome. So glad you're here. Don't be shy. So we're just going to go ahead and get going on this. You guys have all heard my spiel about where I'm coming from with all this and why I'm so passionate about it. And mainly because I've learned that we don't have to get a heart attack. We don't have to have a stroke. We don't have to get demented. We don't have to get diabetes. We don't have to get the diseases that our parents got. We have control. Every time we put food in our mouth, we can control whether we're going to get those diseases or whether they're not. There is a genetic component, but like many of the health experts say, genetics is the loaded gun, and it's diet and lifestyle that pull the trigger. So we're going to take care of the diet part here. It's up to you. Well, you got to take care of the diet part when you go home tonight, but it's up to you also to incorporate some exercise. And I really believe, this is the message that I get from a lot of people, that if you change your diet and are eating a lot more fresh, whole, natural plant foods, your energy goes from 0 to 10 relatively quickly. I know it did for me. I changed pretty much to a healthy standard American diet to a whole food plant-based diet, and within a week my world changed. I felt so much better because I had previously been very tired and lethargic, and the doctor wanted me to put on some thyroid medicine for the rest of my life, and I didn't want to do that, and so I made some changes. And within a week, I felt so much better when I got rid of all the junk, the processed foods and the animal products and the highly fatty type foods. So much easier to maintain my ideal weight, and that's definitely a benefit too. Although I know some people struggle with that. If if you're a person and it's been kind of overweight your whole lives, and then you discover this wonderful way of eating. Sometimes it takes many years to get. I was just listening to a podcast last night, and this doctor was on, Dr. Michael Clapper. He's awesome to listen to if you like listening to nutrition stuff. But he was saying sometimes that weight is just really, really hard to get off. It takes many years. It took 20, 30, 40, 50 years to put it on. It's going to take a few years to take it off. So don't give up. Just relish in the fact that you're much healthier and hopefully feeling a lot better. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with the lentil mushroom stroganoff. And we're going to start off with an onion, like I always do. Let me get my pan going here. And those, we've got those wonderful organosulfur compounds that start activating when you cut that mushroom or that onion open. Your eyes start to water, and that is a really good sign because those compounds are fighting cancer. They will go through your body and find those damaged cells that are turning into cancer, and they'll try to destroy it and get it out of your body so that your immune system can take care of it and get rid of it. And I'm going to use my Vidalia Chop Wizard, great little kitchen tool. Who's gotten one of these since coming to my classes? You love it? All right. No more tears when you're chopping onions, pretty much. You got to be quick, though. And you can use white onion, you can use red onion, you can use any kind of onion you want, your favorite types of onions. I like to go the economical onion, which is usually the yellow onion. And I'm going to put that in my dry pan. I don't have anything in my pan here, no oil, no spray. I'm just going to dry saute it for a minute while I talk about oils, and they are harmful to the body. Olive oil, corn oil, soy oil, hemp oil, coconut oil, motor oil. It's oil is oil is oil. It's all a processed oil, 120 calories per tablespoon, pure 100% fat, highest calorie, lowest nutrient food that we consume, and it will increase your risk of heart disease. If you don't believe me, which I don't expect you to, I encourage you to go to Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn and look at some of his videos. You've got underneath homework, you've got a list there, and I think most of you have seen it. It's pretty much the same ones, but he talks about heart disease. He has a 98% success rate, and he tells his patients absolutely no oil. The problem with the oil, it coats your endothelial cells that line your arteries, and it shuts down the production of this gas called nitric oxide. It keeps your blood vessels like Teflon, and it keeps your blood vessels from getting caked up and clogged up and keeps your blood flowing really well. We don't want to destroy that function with oil. Oil is also very easily absorbed into the body, into your fat cells. There's no fiber, nothing to slow it down. It just goes right where you don't want it to go. And we don't need it. I mean, I'm sauteing this with no oil. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some garlic. This is 2 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to saute that for another minute. Garlic and onions are from the same family of foods, the allium vegetables. And they both have those powerful organosulfur compounds. Dr. Michael Greger with nutritionfacts.org has a video about the different cancer foods and what the level is, what type of cancers they target. And garlic and onion across the board, they hit every type of cancer. I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of water in here. It's starting to stick and starting to get brown. And when I put that water in, it's going to loosen the browning off the bottom of the pan and bring that flavor into your dish really nicely. All right, and this is a mushroom lentil stroganoff. So I am going to add some mushrooms, and we got 1.5 pounds of mushrooms. I hope you love mushrooms because we're getting a lot of them tonight. And this is just one of those containers at Costco, and I've got them sliced. Let's see. I did. I just sliced them by hand. There's another chopper called the Progressive Chopper, and they've got a slicing screen on it, which works good for that. Although they're sliced fairly thin in that. It's a fairly thin slice. I like a little bit heartier slice on these. So we want to include mushrooms in our diet on a regular basis. 1 button mushroom shows to decrease risk of breast cancer by 64%. The studies were done in China, and so those who were drinking green tea with those mushrooms bumped it up to 89%. So mushrooms and green tea, although Dr. Furman says if you're eating green cruciferous vegetables, you're going to get pretty much that same effect. Mushrooms contain an estrogen blocker that keeps estrogen levels low. Estrogen is one of those things that spurs hormonal cancers, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, even prostate cancer, those hormonal cancers. Mushrooms are really good for that. They're angiogenesis inhibitors. They keep tumors from spreading to other parts of the body. They stimulate your immune function. You know, we're coming out of cold and flu season, thank goodness, but we still want to be careful. It seems like for me, I get colds in the summer. I don't know why that is, but anyway, so you always want to be aware of your immune system and make sure you've got a strong immune system. And I will oftentimes just put, in fact, I think I will just put a little bit of water in there. Although the onion or the mushrooms have so much water in them that you hardly even need to add any moisture to this. Once you get your onion sauteed, you can just add the mushrooms, put a lid on, and they'll just create their own juices, which is really great. Mushrooms contain 22 proteins that help to lower blood pressure and cholesterol at the same time, and mushrooms are also like a probiotic. They feed your gut bacteria. I'm going to step over to my blender, and I'm just going to blend up, while that's cooking, I'm going to blend up my, get my ice cream, I think, blend it up so we can get that in the freezer so it'll be done for you guys when we're ready to have ice cream. So I think a few months ago I did banana ice cream, didn't I? I don't know if you guys were here. And last month I did a shamrock shake, which was kind of a creamy type of dessert. So I hesitated doing an ice cream, but again, I was thinking summer. I thought you guys need to know how to do a summer, you know, another type of summer dessert. And I don't think I've done ice cream for ICL for a long time. So this is going to be a nut-based ice cream. So it is going to have some fats in it. And I'm just going to move over and grab this. So what I've got here, your recipe, let's see, does your recipe say cashews or pecans for the, okay. Normally I use cashews. When I went last night to get my nuts to soak them and stuff, I didn't have any cashews. So I was like, I'll just use pecans because they work just as well. You could use walnuts, although walnuts have a little bit of a flavor. I'm not sure that the dates, the sweetener, and the vanilla would cover that up very well. So I'm not sure I'd use walnuts, but pecans or cashews will work. And I've got them soaking in 2 cups of water. You want to, if you have a standard blender especially, and even if you've got a good strong Vitamix like this, you want to make sure you've got everything soaking because you want this to blend up really quick. I've had it in the refrigerator so it's nice and cold because when you get done blending it, when it's nice and creamy smooth, you want it to be cold. So when you put it in your ice cream freezer, which I'll show you, you want it to be able to freeze up correctly. And if it's too warm, it won't freeze up right. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this, and I've got dates in here. Dates are my favorite sweetener. They're a whole food sweetener. All the parts of the plant are still there, except for the pit. You want to make sure all those pits are out. And that softens everything up, so it'll blend up really nicely. I'm just going to go ahead and blend. Just 2 cups. We want 4 to 5 cups of water, and this is going to depend on how rich and creamy you want your ice cream. I'm just jumping over here to my Stroganoff pan to check on my mushrooms, and they are cooking up nicely. Not yet. We're going to put those in there. And then I'm going to grab my water that I've got in here. And again, we want to keep everything cold. Everything you use for your ice cream, you want to make sure it's cold. And I've got some ice in there to make sure this is good and cold. So we'll go ahead and add, I'm just going to kind of guess on the water. I'm going to add another cup about. We want to make sure that blends up really nice and easy. Okay, I'm going to jump back over here for a second. I just realized I forgot to put in my tarragon. So this normally calls for a teaspoon of dried tarragon. I was out and I went to the store to get some, and Smith's had all their organic herbs on sale. So I was like, I'm going to use some fresh, which I actually have never used fresh tarragon before. I use fresh herbs, and you use a tablespoon. If it calls for a teaspoon, you put in a tablespoon of the fresh. So, and I want to do that. Normally I put the herb in towards the end of cooking, but I want to do that right now because it's fresh and I want to cook this down a little bit. So I'm just going to pull the leaves off that. Yes.
Do you use something other than tarragon?
You can. Are you not you're not a fan of tarragon? Oh dear.
I know.
Well, and I've never used fresh before, so I think because it's a fairly strong tasting herb, I'm just going to be really careful with putting too much in it. Fresh herbs are always better than dry. Although if I'm cooking, I find if I'm doing salads, I'm not as concerned about using fresh. But if I'm cooking it, I mean, if I'm doing salads, I like to use fresh. If I'm cooking things, I don't worry so much about using fresh because you're cooking it down anyway. I'm not going to put a whole lot in here. That's probably about a half a tablespoon. And then I'm going to put in my spinach because these mushrooms are looking really good. Okay, I've got 8 ounces of spinach, and this is basically just a half of one of these containers of spinach, and I've got it chopped. Of course, green leafy vegetables, healthiest food on the planet. We want to get them in every single day, at least with every meal. Dr. Joel Fuhrman, he's one of my favorite nutrition experts. I encourage you to go online and take a look at him and listen to some of his videos. He promotes the Nutritarian Diet style, which is a diet based on high nutrient fruits and vegetables, basically. I mean, his program is a vegetable-based diet. He recommends 2 pounds of vegetables a day, a pound of raw, a pound of cooked, and make sure a pound of that, whether raw or cooked, is green leafy vegetables. They have the most powerful effect on reversing heart disease, diabetes, cancer. The cruciferous vegetables have your most power with the cancer, of course. They're the most anti-inflammatory food. If you've got any kind of inflammation type issues, autoimmune disease, the more leafy greens you can get in, the better. I know a gal that teaches, she's a medical doctor, and she helps people with autoimmune diseases, and she packs this type of a blender full of greens every single day and blends it up with like just 1 or 2 small pieces of fruit and just kind of sips on that most of the day. And she says that's your most powerful tool is raw greens for inflammatory issues. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put in our paprika. I've got a teaspoon of that. Okay, I'm going to just put the lid on and finish that ice cream. And let's see, did I miss anything? Okay. We'll take care of the rest of that after we get this going. All right, I'm going to go ahead and throw in my beans. I've got 3/4 cup of white beans, and this is just going to add a little bit of heaviness, a little bit heavierness to your ice cream. You've all had probably homemade ice cream in the old crank, type. You're all old enough to have that, right? And it was very watery. You put it in your bowl, and if you don't eat it within 5 minutes, it's all melted. That's kind of how this is, but you put the beans in there, it kind of just holds up a little bit better for some reason, probably because it's super high in fiber. So I'm going to put 3/4 cup of that in there, and then we're going to put a tablespoon of vanilla, and I do want to measure that if I have a measuring spoon. Yes, and I do. So we're going to put a tablespoon of vanilla. I actually do a maple pecan ice cream. fact, I think that's the ice cream I did the last time I did this for ICL. And you put a little bit of maple syrup, and that's really good. You could probably do vanilla bean paste. Yeah, is that in place of vanilla?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I've heard people that use vanilla powder, and they rave about it. I just haven't ventured into that. I know it's very expensive. Okay, so the rest of the liquid that's going to go in here, for the most part, if I can get it out, is the ice. Because again, I want to make sure we keep this really. Let's see if I can get the ice out. Of course, we can put in that ice water. The ice water will probably be just fine. Yeah. Oh well, the ice water is going to be just fine. We'll get some of that ice in there. There we go. Okay. Now, of course, the pecans are going to make this a little bit dark. This ice cream is more white when it's the cashews, but with the pecans, it's making it a little bit dark. But that's okay. You just get used to having things a little off color when you're eating with whole foods. All right, then we are going to put it in our ice cream freezer. And this, I'll turn that off because I know that's going to be toasted. So this little gadget you can get at anywhere, probably any kitchen store. Costco usually gets them in for the summertime. Does anybody have one of these? Okay, they're great to have. You gotta keep your bowl in your freezer at all times because you never know when that hankering for ice cream is going to come. So you're going to put it on this little spindle right here, and you're going to turn it on, and it'll start spinning. And you put your paddle in here, and you want to start it before you pour your ice cream in there because this thing will freeze instantly, and if it's not going, you're going to have a problem. So we'll put it back here. And put our little lid on here and get it going. Make sure it's spinning. It's a little bit loud. Yes? How big of a container? I think it's 32 ounce. You can get a larger one. Do you? And that takes about 20 minutes or so to freeze. And you're going to have fresh ice cream. Okay, so we're going to go back to our blender with the contents of with the juice from our mushrooms and onions. And who was here for the lasagna class? I think most of you were. We're going to kind of do the same thing with the liquid out of here. Let's see, we're going to put that. We're going to strain the juice into our blender jar. Without spilling the contents of the pot on the floor. That's the trick. That's never happened, actually. And then we're going to put in our seasonings, some onion powder and garlic powder. We're going to put a 1/4 cup of sunflower seeds. Of course, this is going to give it a nice creamy fatty texture for our cream. Nuts and seeds are a great way to add creaminess to whatever creamy recipe you have. If you're using milk or cream, real cream, I encourage you to move away from the dairy and do like more nut-based. I have found you can do the same thing if you've got a nut allergy and even a seed allergy. You could do oats. I found a recipe for a cheese sauce, a non-dairy cheese sauce made with oats. The base of it was oats. I know millet, cooked very soft, cooked very soft, will blend up really nicely to a creamy consistency. I don't know if it would work for ice cream. I haven't made that yet, although you can buy Rice Dream. Has anybody ever had Rice Dream? It's a non-dairy ice cream. It's quite good. The texture's not quite there because there's not much fat in it, but it works. So you could probably even do maybe a millet-based ice cream. I don't know. I'd like to try it. So onion powder, garlic powder. Then we want 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. We're going to just put that into this. Each lemon has about 3 tablespoons of juice, I have found. So we're going to go with 1.5 there. All right, and I think that is it. What's that? Sesame seeds. Oh, I didn't see the add sesame seeds. Forgot about that. We're going with a 1/4 cup of just the sunflower seeds. Yeah, yeah. You could. That could give it a nice flavor. All right, and then we're just going to add this back to our pan. All right. Can you guys see that in the camera? Oh yeah, here's nice creamy consistency. Okay, so we're going to add some lentils to this. And I've got the lentils already cooked. And this is 1 cup. And what you do is you just cook them like beans, although they cook quicker than beans. You just add about 2.5 cups of water, bring it to a boil, and then put in your lentils and let them cook. Or you can buy canned lentils. That always works. If you don't want to go through the boiling process and cooking your own. Lentils are in the legume family, like beans, peas, lentils. We want to get beans in lentils, beans, peas, lentils, some kind of legume in every day for maximum protection against disease. They're great for the gut, healing the gut. And if you have a problem with beans, you might be thinking, that's not good for my gut. And if you do have issues with beans, start very, very slow. Even if it's a tablespoon of beans every day, start very slow and let your body get used to them. Because your microbes, your gut bacteria that is responsible for all aspects of your health, they rely on beans. It's one of the best ways to build up that good bacteria in your gut. They show to stabilize blood sugar. They decrease your desire for sweets and help you stay full. They contain resistant starch, which doesn't digest the normal way in your small intestine. They may move undigested into the large intestine. They ferment, and then they feed those microbes, and then the microbes produce short-chain fatty acids, which is what's responsible for so many aspects of your health, decreasing risk of cancer, anti-inflammatory, all sorts of things. Okay, we're going to add some salt to this. I'm going to add about a teaspoon. Those mushrooms add a lot of flavor, so you don't need too much. Oh, let's see, and we've got, oh no, never mind, that's for the salad. All right, there is our stroganoff. We're gonna serve this over brown rice, which I've got heated over here. I'm gonna turn that off so it doesn't get too cooked. Let's see. There. So we'll just put the lid on that. Okay. So we've got a Mediterranean zucchini salad tonight for a nice raw summer salad. And when I came up with this recipe, this is one of my creations. I don't have a whole lot. I get a lot of my recipes from other people and then I change them to make them mine. But this one was kind of my own idea. I wanted to do like a pasta salad type of a dish, but I don't do a lot of pasta. I prefer to keep my grains whole. And so I wanted to do like a pasta substitute. And my thought was, you know, the spiralized zucchini for spaghetti, the zoodles, they call them, zucchini noodles. I thought, why couldn't you do like a zucchini noodle that's like a short noodle, like a pasta salad type noodle? And so that's where this idea came from, to do the zucchini kind of in place of the noodle. And I used my my tiny chop, my dice blade for my Vidalia chopper, with my chopper here. And then I'm just going to take the zucchini and lay it sideways on the plate and just push it down like that, and then you've got your little strips of zucchini, your little pasta strips. And you could add, you know, some pasta to this as well. And we want about 4 cups. Zucchini is a really healthy food for you. I'm not sure what's all in it. I don't love it, but I use it. I put it in things like this. It's got a lot of other things in with it to make it flavorful. When I cook it, I add some rice and I add a bunch of other stuff to it to make it good. Because I think zucchini is a very boring, bland vegetable to me. And it grows so well around here. For most people, we didn't have very good luck with it. So we've got our measuring cup here on the side that shows me I've got about 4 cups. I'm going to put just like half of this little one in. Oh, we've got this other half right here. And then we'll just dump it in our salad bowl. Okay, so to this, I'm going to add some, let's see, we'll start over here with our tomatoes. So this time of year, I don't ever buy tomatoes this time of year because you know what tomatoes taste like this time of year before they're fresh off the vine. And really, this salad really needs some fresh vine-ripe tomatoes. And so, but we have to just make do with what we've got. And so I bought the grape tomatoes, which are normally really quite good. So this is just one of those small containers of grape tomatoes. It's probably not quite 2 cups. And then we're going to do a red bell pepper. Red bell peppers, of course, you can tell that they're super high in antioxidants because of that red color. So good for you. They're higher in vitamin C than an orange. In fact, all peppers are. We think of orange juice when we're thinking of vitamin C, but peppers are better. And I find it interesting that they are ready, nice and red, at the end of season, August, September, when we're going into cold and flu season, when we need that vitamin C the most. And I'm just going to do a small dice for these. Scientists believe that we get 10,000 oxidative hits a day, where our body is being oxidized. It's being damaged. Our cells are being damaged. So we need to eat lots of high antioxidant foods. And we know that there's a lot of antioxidants because of the color. That is what antioxidants are, is the color. And then we're going to go with the red onion. And we want, how much of that do we want? About a half a cup, I think. Yes. Or more. If you love red onion, you can put a lot more than that in. Red onion's also one of your higher nutrient onions. It's got more micronutrients in it than your yellow onions or white onions, and you know that because of the color. I use a lot of red onions during the summer in salads. We use a small dice on that one as well. I think I'm going to go another quarter on that. Well, no, that's probably good enough. I don't want to go too crazy on the onion. And then we're going to go with some garlic. We got 2 cloves of garlic. And then we're going to go with some balsamic vinegar. This is a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar. So normally in a pasta salad like this, you would have like an olive oil dressing of some kind, olive oil, balsamic vinegar probably. So instead of using olive oil, we don't need to use olive oil, because olive oil, we know what that does. It damages the endothelial lining of our blood vessels, slows blood flow 40% after consumption. Oil, talking about antioxidants, one of the ways to get oxidation in your body is taking in oils, because they are oxidized. They're rotten fats that have been outside of the original plant for who knows how long. Even if it's in a black bottle, it still becomes oxidized. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some olives. Olives, I mean, look how, these are black, man. This is loaded with lots of micronutrients. We want to use that entire food. So we're going to use olives instead of using olive oil in this salad. And I'm just going to chop them up really fine with my chopper. Whoop, whoop. Costco used to have these Kirkland olives that were so good, and they don't have them anymore. I don't know what happened to them, but these are definitely not nearly as good, but they're good enough. And of course, if you want to, cut back on the fats and not use quite as many, or you don't even have to use any. This salad's got a lot of flavor with that balsamic vinegar. So with the kale salad, the Mediterranean kale salad that I was going to do for this class, what I do with it, instead of the zucchini, I get a small head of kale, I chop it up really fine, I get my olives and chop them up like that, and instead of massaging the kale with olive oil and lemon juice, which is what I do for that, and even balsamic vinegar, it's got lemon juice in it as well, I take my olives, chop them up fine like that, dump them in with my kale, and I massage the kale with those olives. So you're getting the oils in the kales, and it's breaking down the fiber of the plant. making it really good. And then I basically just put everything that I'm putting into this salad, I put into that salad as well. Except I do put a little bit of lemon juice. It's so very good. All right, and then we're going to add some corn. And again, fresh corn off the cob is the best for this salad, but we're not at the time of year where there's fresh corn. I bought a package at Costco of the non-GMO organic corn on the cob. They're like the little half corns. My husband had one last night and said, this corn isn't very good. It doesn't have any flavor. So I was like, well, I'll just use frozen, because this is the Costco frozen that's super sweet, super good. Fresh is always better for this salad, but we're going to just go with that. We'll go with the frozen. And then I'm going to add some fresh basil. And again, fresh is best, especially when you're doing salads. And this is it says a cup, and that's a loose cup, but I usually just buy either a plant and just use most of it, or I buy a container like this. This is like 3 ounces, and I had to pull out a few that were dark, but it ended up being probably about a loose cup. I love fresh basil. Now to give this salad kind of more filling feel. Oh, actually we're going to put our beans in. We don't have enough legumes in here. We're going to put some more in our salad. So this is 2 cans right here. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of them. The first time I made this, I kept it completely raw, and it was really good that way without any beans or grain or anything in it. Just the zucchini and all the fresh vegetables. Although I don't know how raw the olives are. They probably aren't raw. But it was really good that way. But the beans just add more bulk, more yumminess to it, makes it more filling. And I do love it with the beans in it. I think I'll just put all those in. And then again, to make this even more filling and more of a kind of a meal, we're going to add a grain, and we can add millet, quinoa, rice, but I find quinoa and millet are the best too. I like doing millet kind of in place of pasta in some dishes. I have a millet primavera that's kind of like a pasta primavera with vegetables and a tomato sauce. It's really good, and I use millet, and it's super good. So we're going to go ahead and add that, and that's just a kind of a heaping half cup when I dry grain. Yes, quinoa. Sorry. Yeah. Yep, quinoa. What's that? Farro? You could. You know, I've never used farro. Is that kind of like barley? A little hearty? Oh, I need to try it. I've just recently tried sorghum, which I love as well. Have you ever tried sorghum? That's a great little grain, but it's got a great flavor. I'm guessing farro, I need to try farro. It's a good salad grain. Of course, any grain's a good salad grain. All right, that's next on my list. Wheat berries. Wheat berries would be great. I've got a little bit of a sensitivity to wheat, so I haven't, but I'd like, someday, I hope to eat it again. All right. And that is it with this. We're just going to add, I'm going to add a little bit of salt to this. You guys can always put more on, so I'll let you do that. All right, that's looking really, really good. And I think that is it for this salad. And that's it for, gosh. That was really quick, you guys. I could have done one more recipe. You're like, yay, we get to go home early. We get to eat early. And our ice cream is pretty much done. So and the rice we're doing tonight is a medium grain brown rice. So you just put the rice, of course, on your plate, and then top it with the stroganoff. Let's see. Wonder where my hot pads went. We'll just use a towel. All right, you guys, come on up and get you a plate. And does Mr. Cameraman, can you get a shot of the food? You probably already did. Whoops. Whoop. There we go. There's a little bit of salt if you need some extra salt on there. I have paper towels. Does that work? Guess I should bring some napkins.
April, were they green or brown lentils?
They were green, actually.
They were?
Yes.
Because it looked kind of brown on the screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
they look, well, yeah, kind of brown green.
This looks amazing. I didn't know you could, like, chop it out.
The zucchini like that. I know. Who would have thought, right?